Okay, um, this is gonna be just quick and fast and loose, but I just wanted to put out a very quick introduction to how one could start to gear towards a bruiser. I know that switching to a new build is always intimidating because you think that you need to start from scratch, you have to craft things and upgrade things, but for the general purposes of just having like a useful build that you can play from time to time, it's a lot easier than you think. Alright, so for starters, I know that I'm going to be in heavy armor, so I'm just looking for serviceable pieces. I already have Void Dark Plate, so I know that's going to be my chest piece. And generally, the perks that I probably will want is that if I'm going to be a bruiser, I'm going to have 300 con, I'm going to have grit ward, good. Doesn't have to be mandatory, but you know. Slash conditioning, I want that on my pieces, because I think it's very good. So if I go to my inventory, and I know that a lot of people probably have a lot of copies of these. Maybe they've salvaged it, or maybe they've kept it. But the syncretic set is like a very, very good starting point. Because if you look at them, all of the pieces come with slash conditioning and grit ward already. So as is, they're already good, and you can add whatever perks you want to them. Ideally for me, I would probably want to add like a third defensive perk, TBD. So I know that at the very least, I can pick up a set of this and equip a set of this, and it'll be a good starting point. And I don't have to worry about the fact that they're all magnified. I can have as many magnified pieces as I want, because I know that in the end I'm going to have 300 con and 300 strength. And as long as it's an even split, I can have as many pieces as I want. So it happens that out of all of these purples, I have dropped one piece that is 696, has health. Alright, it's a great starting point. I'm going to put that there. And outside of that, if I need, I know I can use these purple pieces, so I have 3 of them here. So outside of that, I also think that like slash conditioning is actually like a pretty common perk that drops. So if I look into slash conditioning, I have all these pieces that I've dropped over the last while that I've been playing. Like this one is dexterity, I can't use it, but you know, it has slash conditioning and enchanted ward. Great. There's just a lot of pieces that I could use. For example, this one, 689, enchanted ward slash conditioning. Everyone probably has more of these just rotting away in their storage than they realize, and they're all more useful than you think. So from all this pile of garbage, I've found a couple of pieces that I could use for the time being. This one has enchanted ward slash conditioning. It's not grit ward, but hey, this is 680. I don't have to upgrade this helmet. It's good enough for now. Let's put it in there. And I found these pants that have slash conditioning, grit ward, health. Perfect. I don't know where I dropped it from. Maybe I got it from Imperium Forge, I think. But they're great. I'm going to put them here. And then I don't think I have a serviceable pair of boots. So what I could do is either take boots from another build that I have. This one's Shirking Heals, Shirking Fort Health. Honestly, that's probably pretty good. Good enough for what I need. And outside of that, I found this pair of boots, 633 slash conditioning grit ward. Let's just put it in here and see what happens. Probably decent enough. And now for jewelry, I think jewelry is a lot easier than everyone realizes, because jewelry is interchangeable. I'm going to use Ankh. I already have Ankh. I'm going to put Ankh here. It has stamina recovery. Great. And then for earring, I could use this keratin earring, healthy toast, healing, heart, regenerating, or I could use Champion's earring, which I think a lot of people, it's like a common one that a lot of people have that they could use. But let's just take this keratin earring, let's put it over here. And now for ring, I found this Privateer's Heirloom. I happen to have dropped it, I think, but you can also get this from the kiln using materia upgrading. Like this one's happening 689, has slash damage, it has hardy. I guess I could upgrade it in theory, but hey, this looks pretty good. Good enough for what I need it for. Let's just put it in here. So that's all the armor, and that's all the jewelry. So now for weapons, that's a little bit trickier, not gonna lie. I don't think because of how the drops work, I don't usually equip bruiser weapons, so I probably haven't dropped a lot of bruiser weapons, but I do know I have a lot of named weapons. So in this storage, I am a bit of a hoarder. But I have all of these named items that I tend to keep because I think it's cool to like collect them. I have a lot of great axes, and they're not perfect, but you know, some of them are orange, some of them are high gear score. Probably somewhere in here I'm sure I can find something that I can use just to be a contributing member out on the battlefield. So out of all of these, I've managed to pick out this iceberg. It has refreshing move, attunement, enchanted. Doesn't have sundering shockwave, doesn't have throttling strikes, but its high gear score, all of the perks seem useful. Let's just go ahead and put it there. I can upgrade it later if I want, or I can keep my eye out for a more useful hammer on the marketplace. A lot of easy options, but for just as a starting point, like, this is a fine place to be. And now I have this commanding strike. It has thwarting strikes, keenly jagged. Doesn't have refreshing move. It doesn't have what do you call it? Enfeebling maelstrom. That's okay. I'll figure that out later. Alternatively, I could even just use Abyss, which I know I have, and maybe it's good, maybe it's not. At least it's high gear score. Let's just put that there. And all of a sudden, without spending any gold and without upgrading anything, and just looking for things that I think likely people either have or it's very accessible for people to farm or pick up without any sort of cost or heavy time investment. I've put all this gear in here. I even have this purple boots that's 633, and my overall gear score is 691. And now, like, you know, it doesn't have all the perfect perks, but I'm sure as long as I get some practice with this build and I get good with and familiar with the skills, and I put some gems in here, I'll probably be serviceable enough for like open world PvP. What might I do now? So now I know that I have 4 slash conditionings, so that's, it doesn't show it here, but when it procs, that's going to be 20% slash damage resistance and 20% standard or bleed damage resistance. And that's pretty good for all your sort of like open world clump fighting melee damage mitigation. What I might do is I might put a couple of rubies in here. For example, I think I have a champion's earring here that has a ruby, and I might put 4 rubies in here and another onyx in here, and that'll probably get me to where I need to be. I'll have like 5% melee damage, but when the slash protection procs, it's going to be good. And now I have a lot of elemental resist, or at least fire resist, and some mix of this is probably going to get me to where I need to be. So now I have all my gear, and now at least I'm ready to take it for a spin and, you know, upgrade it if I need to. Ideally, obviously, it's not close to completely bissed out, but I think it's useful. So if you're trying to pick up a Bruiser build and find a way to even just get a starting point without feeling like you're under a lot of pressure to spend a lot of gold or a lot of materials, it's a lot easier than you think. So good luck and take care.